and welcome back to Surrendered. If you're new here, Surrendered is a channel that discusses our relationships and how best they can be when we surrender them to God. We believe, and I believe personally, that every relationship matters before God, and it's not easy to be in a working relationship. All the time God tells us to give Him our burdens because He cares for us. Because we deal with human beings, sometimes we shall have heavy burdens, we shall have things that come and they block our relationships. And my name is Kimani. If this is your first time to be here, I am so happy. Kindly feel welcomed. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Continue to tell somebody that journeys which are surrendered unto the Lord, they will work out because God is for us. Well, last week we talked about guarding our hearts against many things, because naturally we will get into trouble when we don't protect those things that matter to us. I feel I want to continue talking about the guardrails of our lives, marriage guardrails. And we were talking about what are those things that we need to do as married people. What are those things that we need to, to keep in check and in step so that we don't throw away marriages which are godly given just because of some things that we haven't taken care of. And today, talking about marriage guardrails, many times I personally can be tempted to look at my own family and start thinking, oh, this is not a tick, this is not a tick, and this is not a tick. In this life, we will have working marriages because we are working on them. And we will keep in mind that the absence of trouble is not necessarily the confirmation of God's presence in your marriage, because sometimes we get deceived that when we have smooth seasons, that's when God is there. On the contrary, God is not moved by the situations we are in. And this is what I mean. God's presence is not confirmed by the absence of trouble and conflict in your marriage relationship. God's presence is divine. It is there when you're in trouble. It is there when you have peace. It is there when you're sorting out issues. And I feel to encourage you, the marriage person, the same way you guard your life against distraction, you need to work against those things that come and attack your marriage. And let's look at the same verse again. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23. Guard your heart with all diligence, because from it flows the issues of life. Or just be vigilant. Just know whatever is coming from your heart, those are the issues of life that you need to guard. We were talking about guarding our hearts against anger and what you do when you're angry. Today, let's look at three things. Because whether you look at the media, you look at the friendships that you have, because we cannot exist without friendships. You look at people who you're married at the same time. You will always have this thing of, okay, what happened to mine? But those are deceptions, and that is what the enemy is doing. Let me talk to you about your ear guards. What do you hear outside there? In most cases, when you enter into a matatu in an early morning show, you'll hear everything about a marriage that is not working. Is it that you listen too much to issues that are coming from marriages that are not working, that you start bringing them into yours? And such a small thing that is happening in your marriage, you're reminded that it can't work. And the solutions that are offered in the social media, oh my God, they don't encourage you to stay in your marriage. So you look at your spouse, and if he doesn't do things as per what is prescribed in the social media or in the friendships that you have, that's not a working marriage. That is a myth. The word of God says that it was not good for a man to stay alone. He created a woman. He created a helper. You and your husband, you are God's idea. Guard against what you're hearing. The word of God says that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. What are you listening to? Are you listening to things that do not align themselves with God's will for your marriage? What does God say about your marriage? That you're one. And you must remember that the current world, it is an upfront, it has a war actually against the oneness of a marriage that you're given by God. What you're listening to has capacity, it has power to make you believe that your marriage is not working, while it takes you to work on it. Then your eyes, what are you watching? I don't even know whether that is even the right question to ask. What are you not watching? Because if you turn on your TV, you turn on your phone, you turn on anything you can turn on, anything that is visual, you'll see things. And one of the things I've noticed is what you see also gets to be recorded. You know, the eyes are the windows of the spirit. Your life itself can remember what you have been watching. Are you this kind of a person who only watch conversations on TV that discuss how hopeless marriages are? Do you just watch those things when you're going through your stress? And mark you, I'm not saying you stay in a marriage that you have worked day in and night and you're dying there. Now you're coming to pick a corpse because somebody told you stay there. No, I'm talking about guarding your eyes against those idols which are created outside there. The idols that will come and you bring them into your marriage. Job said he made a covenant with his eyes that he will not watch evil. So, you know you have a weakness. You watch, maybe as a married person, you watch pornography. Yes, I know. You see, married people don't watch such things. Most of the marriages which are going into problems which were not anticipated, they're happening because the married people, they're going to, instead of actually spending time looking at the Word of God and how it can help you to guard your marriage, you take a whole magazine and you're looking at nakedness. You watch a movie that has propensity to pull you out of your marriage. You're watching things, and those idols that you're watching there, they don't live in your house. You live with a human being. You live with somebody who has flesh and blood. And you're watching things that tell you you can have sex outside your marriage. Because all over it is accepted. I am here to encourage you that the world we are living in is not in the business of encouraging you to stay pure in your marriage. The Word of God says that your marriage bed is holy, it is undefiled. When you go outside, when you're watching movies, my God, even when you rate your movie at home, you screen it, and then they say it has no vulgar language, it has no sexual language, it has boundaries which will protect your children. You just watch a movie for 5 minutes, supposed to be even a godly movie, and shortly after you start noticing something is up against this marriage union in every way. You must determine that your eyes will be guarded. You must determine that what comes through your eyes is what will promote contentment in your marriage. It is what will promote unity in your marriage. It is what will promote good things, because whenever you watch things that are not real, and then you go home, you get a real person, you're thinking, this one came from where? Then the last one, the mind. Here, a lot happens here. Even right now, as I am talking, I have to guard myself against hearing maybe water that is running in this house because there's somebody who is cleaning, and I have to concentrate on this video. What do you allow to come to your mind? Do you allow just negativity? Do you allow only the negative things that your spouse does to occupy your mind throughout, from morning till evening? And do you allow yourself to say, I wish this and this could happen? Yes, we have those moments, but how far is too far? How far can you go in allowing your mind to accommodate things that add no value to your relationship? I have been telling you that there is no marriage that is 100% perfect. If there is one, it doesn't exist here. And if you're thinking only your marriage has imperfections, you're deceived. I just want to encourage you that God is for your marriage. Pray about it. When troubles come, when miscommunications come, when people are not honoring their promises, maybe that's a big deal for you. But when you think about it, you also don't keep part of the bargain. Sometimes you will promise to do something. You get caught up in this busyness of life and you forget Sometimes you will forget even very important things, core things to your marriage. How about sitting down and discussing them? How about believing that the God who gave you that relationship at the beginning, if it was so good, that is the same then, he's the same God now, and he will be the same God tomorrow. So don't throw away your marriage because of things that you're hearing, things that you're watching, and things that you're allowing in your mind wage war. I want to say, when you surrender your marriage to God, there is nothing that is impossible with God. If God exists in your marriage, involve him in your trouble, involve him in your issues, because there are so many good things that you can look at that have kept your marriage. For example, my husband is forgetful, that I can ask him, please remember to bring this today. And then he doesn't bring the same thing that day, tomorrow, and maybe the next day. Do you know, it is very possible that I will start thinking he doesn't care. He doesn't remember because he doesn't care, which is not necessarily true. What would remove that thought from me? Airing my view and airing what I feel when he keeps forgetting. So I want to encourage you, don't just look at what is happening negatively. Think about what brought you together. And like I've been encouraging you, love is not just a thing that you say. It's a thing that you do. Love is an action. Love is living out what you promised. When you feel it and when you don't feel it, love is living in the I do promise. Just keep on remembering that God is for you and your relationships when you surrender them to him. For now, it's a bye-bye. Continue to comment. Are there things that you feel you need to set up as guardrails in your marriage? They will help you and they will help another couple. Continue to comment right here. Some things that you do to help your marriage bond to become strong. I love you, and it's a bye-bye.